Assalamualaikum dear students. Our today's topic for discussion is Leh, written by Andrew Harvey. It is lesson number 4 of 12th class English, Junior 2nd. In today's lesson we will be discussing its last para, that is para number 5. So let's start. Everywhere along the track there are mantra stones with the letters Om Mani Padme Hum carved on them, breathing their sacred words silently between rocks or in a bed of flower sprinkled moss. Dear students, we know that the writer has come to Stock in order to see the palace of the Rani, which is situated at Stock. On reaching the Stock, the writer changes the plan. Instead of going to see the palace, he decided to walk up the mountain tracks. The palace of Rani has small rooms and too much light. The writer walks all the day higher and higher and wants to be there with the mountains and summer streams in the valley. The towering mountains and summer streams of Leh are incomparable to anything beautiful on the earth. One feels like traveling into their paths while looking at them across the shifting lights of the valley against the brilliant emptiness of the sky. Students, the rocks on the sides of the path are covered with small blue flowers. The writer notices that wild green grass grows between the large rocks. The rocks become more attractive and dazzling as the heat increases. The students, the rocks on the sides of the path, covered with small blue flowers, appear like fantastic, fantastic wings as the cathedrals falling into the river. The writer actually traps the scene of the Leh that changes with the change of encroaching heat like the cathedral wings which are floating over the river and covering the rocks like moss that has grown on the rocks. It seems to the writer that a hermit or saint is giving his sermon outside the cathedral. Students, the writer says that it is the mark of human love and prayer in these desolated forests. The writer saw everywhere the signs of human companionship. While walking up the mountains, two men passes him on the path carrying firewood on their donkeys, giving him a broad smile, and they pass on. They had been working in the mountains to get wood for the winter from bushes that grows in the deep narrow valley with steep sides just below the tree line. Right says that everywhere on these mountains, right? Right says that everywhere on these mountains he saw mantra stones with the letters Om Mani Padme Hum carved on them. These sacred words between the rocks and the mosses that has grown on the rocks looks as if flowers have been sprinkled over the stones. Right? There are there are there are latos shrines to the spirits of the rock and the air with dissolved horns and bones in large whitening piles on them, shrines to the gods of their landscape that are older than the Buddhist gods but have been reconciled to Buddhism, gods of tempest and avalanche and avalanche, gods of streams that carry well to the valley. Students, there are numerous temple shrines. This is explanation. There are numerous temple shrines raised to the spirits of the rock and the air with dizo. What is dizo? A male hybrid of a yak. So, there are numerous temple shrines raised to the spirit of the rock and the air with dizo horns and the moons in plenty on them. The landscape is full of shrines of various gods. They are gods of tempest, gods of snowstorms, and gods of streams that carry well to the valley. Right? Now text. There are red flags. There are red flags, lonely, rigid with enduring high on pinnacles of rocks above me. They flap in the wind, breathing everywhere the words of the Buddha. Now explanation of this text. Students, there are fireflies on the top of the mountains, right? The writer was fascinated on seeing these old and worn out flags high above him. They flutter and move in the wind. The words of Buddha are written on them, right? Now text. The wilderness of rock and lights has not been tamed. It remains exalted and sometimes frightening, but it does not have inhuman solitariness of Antarctica or the Sahara. There are small, everywhere there are small marks of human love and prayer. Right now, explanation of this text that says these desolated rocks and light seems sometimes exalted and frightening, but it is not like the inhuman solitariness of Antarctica or the Sahara. Everywhere one can find marks of human love and prayer. Right now, resting on the top of a mountain pass, I found that the rock I was sitting on was ringed by white stones heaped there by travelers over many years walking on and on into the highest part of the pass. That says that on the top of the mountain where I was resting, I found that the rock on which I was sitting was ringed with white stones. It was ringed with white stones. That says on the top of the mountain where I was resting, I found that the rock on which I was sitting, it was ringed with white stones. It seems to the writer that these white stones had been heaped by the travelers over many years of walking on and on into the highest part of the pass. Right now, text. I found just I was tired to go any further. There was a deserted shepherd's hut with its roof torn off by the wind and a small rose bush growing in the shelter of one of its walls. I sat in it and ate my bread and cheese. On the wall the shepherd had written with charcoal from the fire, Om, just the letter again and again, and under each letter was a rough sketch of Buddha's face. The students here at says that walking on and on the highest part of the mountain, he found that he was now too tired to go any further. He was he found that he was too tired to go any further. He saw a lonely shepherd's hut. He saw a lonely shepherd's hut in a crumbling situation and a small rose bush protecting one of its walls. The writer sat in it and ate his bread and cheese. The shepherd had written on the wall. The writer observes that the shepherd had written on the wall just above one letter Om again and again. Just the one letter Om again and again. Under each letter he had drawn a rough sketch of Buddha's face. Thank you very much.